Isolation exemptions for essential workers have been extended in an attempt to tackle the growing supply chain crisis gripping the country. The changes, ticked off by National Cabinet this afternoon, will see a number of sectors be allowed to return to their places of employment sooner if they are COVID negative and don't have symptoms. Let's take you live to our senior political reporter, Jonathan Lee in Canberra. Jonathan, the Prime Minister is talking a lot today about the need to recalibrate the economy.
Ash, good afternoon to you. I think you can be forgiven for thinking it's 6 o'clock. It certainly feels like a very big day. The Prime Minister says the National Cabinet today was all about recalibrating, riding through this Omicron wave and being clear with the nation's objectives. He says the health advice now also is very clear that Omicron is far less deadly. It has a lower mortality rate, but it is far more contagious. For that reason, the federal government is working with the states and the territories to try and find ways to get workers, employees back into their places of employment. Today it was all about a significant easing of close contacts. I want to take you through these close contacts at home, these jobs, so you can work out how it affects you and also your friends and family. There are a number of industries here: transport, freight and logistics workers, health and emergency workers, food distribution workers, though not hospitality, energy resources and water workers. There's others too. We'll go to the second page: telecommunication, media and broadcasting, education and childcare. These are on top of food distribution. So there are a number of sectors here. But Ash, what isn't clear at this stage is how it lines up with what Victoria has announced today. In Victoria, those workers who are close contacts have to get a rapid test every day for 5 days as they go back to work, and then they come home to isolate. They also need to make sure that they don't have any symptoms. But the Prime Minister is very clear what we're going to continue to see is a high rate of absenteeism, and for that reason, schools need to remain open.
One of the most important ways of ensuring that our workforce is not depleted, and we heard today from the Treasury Secretary that we could be looking at an up to 10% absenteeism from our workforce at any one time at its peak. That's 10% of your workforce taken out by COVID. Now, that is the impact of a highly contagious infection and virus. If schools don't open, then that can add an additional 5% to the absenteeism in the workforce. So schools open means shops open. Schools open means hospitals are open. It means aged care facilities are open.
The Prime Minister was using sentences like a delicate recalibration and saying the situation is changing daily. But there has certainly been criticism from a number of sectors today about a potential lack of planning as the nation reopens.
A bit of strategic planning maybe is what we've missed out on here. We do know now that there were announcements made about the RAT tests, and we do now know that we haven't got enough of them, nowhere near enough of them. People are depending on those tests to see if their workers have got COVID, if they've been with a contact or in a place where there's been COVID.
And Jonathan, the Prime Minister had a pretty strong warning about the possibility of people being reinfected with Omicron.
This was a very interesting point. The Prime Minister talked about Omicron parties. It was something that I haven't heard of before, but he said that people couldn't simply go and get Omicron and then get it out of the way. He made the point that while he thought perhaps New South Wales's wave may have passed, that this will continue to reinfect communities.
I also want to note that reinfection on Omicron can occur. So all this nonsense about COVID parties, it's ridiculous, okay? Reinfection can occur with Omicron.
There's certainly also been a lot of criticism of the federal government today about rapid antigen testing, making sure there are more out there and readily available. That's the opposition's criticism. The Prime Minister finally has also made it very clear that Omicron is going to be with us for a long time yet. Ash.
Jonathan Lee, live in Canberra, thank you.